Okay, so we're going to look at the random class, and we're going to use that in several ways just to kind of get a feel for how we can use that class. If we look at the PowerPoint on chapter 5, it'll go over some of the methods we're going to use. But my first set of code, I just want to demonstrate the use of the various random functions. Then I'll do another video where we create a guessing game where the program will randomly generate a number between 1 and a user-specified number n. And then that game will continue until, well, the player will continue to guess until they either win, or we can add in a clause that they lose by guessing too many times and not getting it right. And then I'll use a third one with graphics, where we generate thousands of randomly, we draw thousands of randomly generated circles. That'll be kind of fun. Okay, so I'll jump over to Eclipse and also the PowerPoint. Just kind of notice for the random class, we need to import the utilities, and then we'll set up a new random. We'll just call it R, so little r is the name of the random. Random is the class, and then we'll just use a few methods. I'm probably just going to use next integer with a parameter of maximum, and then I can show you how to use next double. Next int draws from all possible integers 2 to the negative 31st up to 2 to the 31st minus 1. And that the minus 1 is because 0 is in the middle, and that's a total of 2 to the 31st numbers. Okay, so we'll jump into chapter 5, and we'll do a new Java class here, and we'll just call it random class practice. Headers in. Oops. Program is used to illustrate the different various methods of the random class. And again, we need to import java.awt or utilities. I think utilities. Yeah. I forget the syntax, so I don't use it very much. I'll take everything off of that. It's often the case with syntax you don't use a lot, you just kind of have to look up. We just looked it up. Okay. So we'll come into main. I think I'll just do these things in main for now. And we'll create a new random class. So random r equals new random. No parameters. And we'll let r generate a random number. First, just integer n equals r dot next int. And then we'll print that n. Run it. That'll randomly generate an integer between 2 to the negative 2 to the 31st and 2 to the 31st. So those are big. Chances are the number is going to be very big one way or the other, just because. Run it again. Let's see if we get like a smaller number. No, big positive number, big positive number. You know, there's a lot of numbers between, a lot of integers in there. So what you might want to do instead is restrict to some range of values. So next 10 would actually generate a number between 0 and 9, next integer. So you might want 0 to 10. This will never generate a 10. Oops. Let's move that print statement down. I generated it, but I never printed it. that'll be between 0 and 9 always. So if we keep running, you know, we're never going to get 10. If I want to go from 1 to 10, to generate a number, well, if I want to go from 0 to 10, inclusive, so that means I'm including 0 and 10, I would need to make this an 11 here. And eventually, if I run this, I'll either get, there's the 10 right there. I'll either get 0 or 10. But if I want to generate a number from 1 to 10, inclusive, well, what I do is I say, okay, that guy will generate a number between 0 and 9. And if I add 1 to it, it'll be between 1 and 10. This is a common trick that we use. And then, so that bottom one will always be between 1 and 10, inclusive. The top one could include 0, but not 11 ever. So, okay, and then the next thing would be like if you wanted a double. So, you know, what if I wanted, you know, from 20 to 50? So if I wanted to randomly generate let's go from 50 to 100. Let's call it inclusive. So again, it's the same thing I just did. I would put, in this case, 50 in here, and that number would be between 0 and 49. If I add 50 to that, it's between 50 and 99. So if I want to go from 50 to 100, I need that to be 51. So this will generate a number between 0 and 50. If you add 50, you'll go from 50 to 100. I don't need to print that. Okay. So then the last thing to look at is just doubles. And you know, doubles is you do next double. I guess you could do next Boolean, that'll randomly generate 0 or 1. I mean, true or false. But you could also do a random generator between for 0 to 1, and that would, 0 could be true, 1 could be false. But next double is interesting because it always generates a real number between 0 and 1. But if I wanted a double between, say, 0 and 1,000, so let's go double the equals r dot next double, and then we'll print d. So that would be a number randomly generated double between 0 and 1. If I wanted a randomly generated double, let's just put this in here for commenting purposes. I don't know if that's inclusive or exclusive, meaning I don't know if 0 and 1 are included in that. My feeling is probably not, but we would, you know, it would take a long time to find out by just testing it. So I'm not going to look it up now. Suppose I wanted a number between 0 and 1,000. Random double between 0 and 1,000. Well, interestingly enough, you can actually just take your random number between 0 and 1 and multiply it by 1,000. So in the last example, that would be 341.82. If we run that, oops, I need a semicolon there. We should end up with two doubles at the end, one between 0 and 1, and the next one a randomly numbered double between 0 and 1,000. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon here because mathematically, because what that's saying is the interval of numbers between 0 and 1 it really is the same size as all the numbers from 1 to infinity. I'll let you think about that for a minute, but because if we wanted a random number between 0 and 10,000, we could just change that to 10,000, or between 0 and 1,000,000, we could change this to 1,000,000. So the number of numbers, the size of the value of the interval from 0 to 1 is the same as that from 1 to infinity. That's why math is cool. Anyways, I don't know if that's why math is cool or not, but it makes you think sometimes, like, what? Okay, so I think that's it for how to use the random number generator. Just a couple of quick examples, and we'll move on in the next video.